not following the lead. They're seeing it, but they're not going. What if you did the opposite?
Yeah, let's just get into it. It's crazy how much has happened since our last podcast. Like our last podcast, you had just got back from Tulum. We're talking all the Aubrey Marcus stuff, and now the world is in a very different place.
Yeah, on the last podcast, we were like, it's so cool that we can do it remotely now because, we can be in two different locations and we can still do it.
Yeah, we really predicted the Zoom explosion.
Yeah. Damn, Zoom is... I can't put my finger on it, but Zoom is just like 10 times better than Skype.
There is something about it. Yeah, I should be using it more. I just got this software that like integrates with Skype for recording interviews like exactly side by side, but I probably could have just done something like that in Zoom. Might have been better. Yeah, like for some reason I feel like it's just like the borderless stuff. It just looks really integrated. I feel like Skype is just gonna probably interrupt me with some error like any second and stuff like that.
And also you can minimize yourself. I just minimize myself, and it feels so much like a conversation compared to a conversation where you're holding a small mirror.
I just did it too.
That I can look at myself.
That's kind of nice because like you're always kind of just like, oh, like wait, I look really stupid at this angle. Let me okay, yeah, that's much better.
The lighting. Yeah.
My lighting is terrible, but thankfully this is just an audio podcast and we're just on video with each other. So
yeah,
the light is literally behind me. That's like the videography, photography, like rule number one, and is don't do that.
Yeah. My friend Seth brought up a good point because he's making a course right now actually for learning no-code tools to build like tech without code. And he's recording himself for the course, and he was telling me that it's kind of self-conscious to look at the videos after you do it. And it's so true. Like I have that with the podcast and probably about 5 times more with video, because my view of myself during most of the world is just there's a little bit of a nose on the bottom and I can kind of see the rest of my body and not my face. But with video, it's like, oh, fuck, everyone sees me that way. And also, I start judging myself self-consciously. I'm like, oh, fuck, is that how everyone judges me? Is that how I judge everyone? Like, damn.
Yeah, that reminds me. I just saw a post on Reddit yesterday. It was on shower thoughts, and it went something like, the ultimate form of acceptance is watching yourself back on video and not hating your voice.
That's great.
Yeah, I think it's true. Yeah, weirdly, I think I remember that feeling, but now I don't even think about it. I think it's just because of like forcing myself to do YouTube so many times. Like now I'm just like, oh, fuck it. I'm gonna sound stupid sometimes. I'm gonna, have my face look slightly wrong sometimes, or there's gonna be like some shit on my shirt that I didn't see, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there's sort of just no way to get past the self-consciousness with a trick or just do 2 long breaths and 1 short breath and write down 3 words that you think of and then spin around and turn on the camera and you'll feel fine. It's like you just have to do it and you have to deal with the discomfort of it. And that's what I'm learning for all creative stuff. Even the writing, when I started publishing that, it was really scary. And I did it, right? And even now, every time I send it, I'm like, oh, like once you send it, it's kind of solidified. And it's like, ah, fuck it. Like, whatever.
Yeah, it all comes back to that being in flow and kind of like the beginning of anything being the most difficult. Like I'll often find that by the middle of a video or by the middle of a podcast or by the middle of an email I'm writing, then it's just flowing. I'm being more normal. Whereas at the very beginning, it's just like, like honestly, even kind of how we're doing right now, like probably 20 minutes from now, the podcast is probably going to be flowing a little bit better.
Yeah. That's true. And if it's not, then we'll be extra self-conscious because we're gonna remember that.
Oh shit, yeah. Then we're gonna.
Fuck,
Yeah.
we fucked it up.
But damn, there are.
Yeah, and I guess that's just part of the process too, to go through it. Like, it's crazy. So much of the stuff, the best stuff I wrote it all right away. Like, I'm not thinking about each line. I'm just writing it, and it somehow catches me. But last week for my email, or maybe a week and a half ago, I was writing for 5 hours. I was like, fuck, like, I don't know. Like, this topic just isn't seeming to... I can't quite find the words to make myself proud of it. And then I looked at my iPhone notes. I was like, I kind of like that. And I basically just copied and pasted something I wrote in 2 minutes earlier in the week.
Yeah. Something, we've talked about off the podcast is the audience doesn't know the difference of how much time you put into it. It's like, it's really is subjective, and some of your best work might be something you just threw out on the page, and the thing that you labored over for months might actually be worse in some cases.
Yeah. I think that you can't be afraid of the audience.
Can't?
You can't.
Yeah, right. Totally. Yeah, no, go ahead.
If you are, you give them the power to influence the content.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying if you're afraid of, like, yeah, maybe the fear of what other people think is manageable if you have like 10 close friends. But if you have 1,000 people and and you're worried about every one of their judgments, then the weight is just too much. You have to just snap it and be like, if they don't like it, if they fucking hate it, then fine. Like, my intentions are good.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I feel like this advice like applies so much to YouTube, even more than, at least from my perspective, like even more than I feel with the email. Because there's something about YouTube that you're just like throwing yourself to the wolves. Whereas like I feel like I've never really gotten any like replies to my email like, fuck you, Matt, you're just a dumbass. Like it just like doesn't really happen with that format.
Right.
But yeah, definitely.
Because it's one-to-one.
Mm-hmm.
The email, you can't reply all, and there's not really as much posturing as goes on with an email compared to the YouTube comments where people are hoping for likes.
Yeah, people want their negativity to be like seen and agreed upon and kind of like kick off this whole revolution against you or something. Whereas in email, it's just like a much more true connection. It's just like, it's personal, which is why it feels great to write and get replies too. Like we've both said, I love getting replies to the email. It just feels like more connected.
Yeah. And also on an email, there's no like filter that the communication has to go through, because if you send the email, they get the email, compared to on YouTube is like, YouTube's like, all right, give us your comment and we're gonna look at that and we're probably gonna let Matt see that. But there's a chance they might not like it. There's a chance that they will like it, and it kind of corrupts the communication because people are worried about YouTube having so much control over it.
Yeah, same from the creator perspective too, not just even the commenters. Like you have to scream the loudest, you have to be like the shockingest, you have to do all that stuff, or you're not going to be seen by the old algorithm gods, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so true. Like the medium is the message. The whatever is like, so a little bit of a side note. I'm reading this book right now called Sacred Economics, and it's about how can we make money make the world more wholesome compared to less, because money has a use case, but it's kind of gotten a little bit fucked up to only value production with air quotes around it, I would say.
Mm.
And he makes this point. He's like, money is backed by gold, which means that money is backed by digging into the ground of the rock that we live in and really digging deeply, miles down, and taking metals out of it and bringing them all the way up and then building a safe in the middle of the rock and putting him right back into the ground that we got him from. And we're literally destroying the rock that we live on to get the money that we're backed by. So it's kind of fucked up. But he was saying, like, how can it be backed by something that does not encourage us to do that? And it's kind of the same with YouTube. Like, it's backed. These algorithms are backed not by gold, but by engagement. And that is what it's going to encourage.
Damn, I really like that analogy. That was that could be like a little piece of writing or something you could put together, because that's a cool analogy to bring it back. But yeah, how weird the whole like gold thing even is, because it's so inherently not valuable at the same time. Like, can you imagine the world going back to gold instead of money? It would just, like, I feel like people just be like, nah, I don't really care about gold.
Yeah, well, gold's not even a very good money. It's a very good scarcity.
True. Yeah. But it's like,
And it's shiny.
Yeah. It's just like such an old thing, right? It's like, can you imagine a time where gold had that much direct value? Like your aspirations were to have more gold than the dude down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying. And now that I'm thinking about it, I also get there is something like whoever designed whatever JavaScript coder made this whole simulation, I get why gold was used by money. It's almost just human nature to look at that, even if you don't know that it's gold and money. Even a baby would be like, shiny. And it's not only shiny, but it's like hard, and it's like, it feels like real, and it doesn't age.
I think that's what I'm getting at, like just how silly it is, though, like that we are drawn to this thing, like that doesn't really make any sense. It's just like, ooh, like, wow, like let's make our whole world run off of exchange of this like yellowish metal that's in the ground that we have to dig up and then trade with other people for other things. It just all
when
seems.
You call it yellowish, it really does not seem necessary.
Yeah, like we made a whole word just for that color.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's interesting, and relevant with everything going on with the pandemic. Like, I think that this is going to be a huge inflection point in human history, where we've been running around like robot, like we were all born. It's like, all right, this is the way the world is, this is the way, and it's just constant evolution. It's hard, and you have to just stay focused, and people don't have enough money, and they're like trying to work and this and that, and suddenly, for the first time in decades, like, all right, forced meditation retreat in your house for the next 2 months. Just think a lot.
Yeah, there are some crazy, unexpected positives happening right now that we should definitely explore. But this is such an interesting time. Like, this is maybe, I mean, to our lifespan so far, like, this is the weirdest event easily. And it's just
very strange.
Yeah, it's very strange, but at the same time, it's like, it's bad, and obviously, you know, like, it's bad for anyone that was directly affected or had families affected. Obviously, like, stuff like that is very terrible, but it's strange how simultaneously relaxed this whole thing is, and people coming together, and people kind of like thinking about what they really want now, and having more time at home with their families, whatever. You know, doing creative projects, getting those cobwebs out of their head of all the little things that they haven't been able to finish. There are so many unexpected benefits happening.
Yeah, I'm kind of loving it, and I know that there's a lot of people that are in a lot of pain right now, so I feel for them deeply. Which is why I hesitate a little bit, but oh my God, like, it just feels like such a nice reflection, and there's no pressure to do anything or to go and meet friends and to go to a coffee shop today, and there's just no pressure. And I already didn't know that many people in Austin, so it almost feels like I moved from LA to Austin, and I just moved from Austin to the internet, and all my friends moved to the internet with me.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah, no, I've been thinking that especially for you, like how strange that must be to have like just moved to a new place, like essentially by yourself, and then be like, because you're like, I mean, we literally have this documented on the podcast. Like, yeah, I'm gonna like meet people, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna sign up for this, and then it's like, actually, you're gonna have to just stay home.
Yeah, I was on a Zoom call with some of my camp friends yesterday, and they were like, "So how does your work change? How's your work changed? Has it?" I was like, "Yeah, honestly, like, I feel like I've been quarantined for 4 years."
Yeah, there were a lot of like memes going around about that. It's like this just made me realize that like I've been quarantined as an entrepreneur already. Like, just it's true. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's a bit of an exaggeration. Like, there's still just a weird. I mean, I haven't seen how. I wonder how it looks in Austin, say, compared to here. Like, I don't know. I've only been here. Like, I just, how different are, like, what has your routine been like? Like, are you still going to stores? Like, how are you kind of getting by? And like, what is it like outside?
I haven't used my car in over 2 weeks. I will generally just I work because all my work is from my laptop, so I'm pretty much doing everything that I've done. But somehow I still have more time and attention for it because I know very concretely what I'm doing tomorrow. Nothing. So there's just more space in my mind for it. I will still morning routine, meditate, read, go for a walk, go for a run. I'll get groceries delivered through Prime Now. I went to Whole Foods twice, and then I was just like, fuck it. I realized that I can just refresh the cart like pretty incessantly for an hour or two, and I'll probably get a time.
Yeah. That's been almost impossible here.
Yeah, I bet LA is even like, it's almost impossible in Austin, but you can kind of do it. I bet LA is just impossible.
Yeah, towards the beginning, and when things were the craziest, we actually stocked up quite early, like before the stores got crazy at all. And then like another week or two later, it was a few days before things really went crazy, and I was like, shit, let's like really stock up. But then obviously that was a while ago at this point. But over those first couple weeks of craziness, we like, yeah, basically at all costs we're trying to do deliveries. But in the last week, it just like they're still so delayed. They're still not doing deliveries, and everything is oddly calmed down so much here that now like we've gone to the store a few times just with masks and gloves. But yeah, we were avoiding that until like a week ago. But right now, like I feel like the sentiment right now is kind of just like, like it's just happening, and like I don't feel like the same vibe in the air of like 4 weeks ago at all here.
Yeah, people have kind of gotten used to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been interesting to like talk about this a few weeks back, but we're definitely over the peak, because I was obsessively thinking about this, and right now I'm just kind of like, I don't know what the next steps are, which is probably still the biggest concern. But when the cases were just still going up so exponentially, that was just like, holy shit. And now it's like, okay, what is the new normal? How long does this take? What happens as soon as we let anybody do anything that looks remotely normal for 48 hours? What happens after that? Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's encouraging. At least me, it's just like I'm in a place of just patience, and like time has lost all meaning. Like, what day is it? Fuck if I know.
Yeah, definitely. That is for sure true. Like, less sense of, oh, it's the weekend.
Tuesday.
Oh, it's Monday. Yeah, it's yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like all of these things that we consider normal have just fallen away instantly. And I feel like humanity or just me, it's a feeling of catching my breath. It's like, oh. And then you look back from where you came from and it's like, what was I fucking doing? Doing all of that shit and driving and I have to be here and I have to be there and the time and the this and the that, and I'm so fucking stressed and what is going on? And everybody is working in these bullshit jobs. Like this, what is the world fucking doing right now? And I think that a lot of people are realizing that, like, we have our values really fucked up. Like, this virus screams, yo, your health and the people that you see are pretty important, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think there's kind of this massive realization happening amongst millions of people right now, which is beautiful and scary and mostly just interesting. Because I think a lot of people are going to realize how shit that traffic was, how shit their job was, how nice it was to wake up and, you know, be by themselves, be with their family, you know, do nothing. I just think it will be such a wake-up call for the people that have been extremely robotic about things and just passively letting their life happen. I feel like there will be a lot of people that refuse to go back. And I don't think it will be like, I think people will forget very quickly. I think that the majority of people will go right back to it, and you know, largely out of necessity. I don't mean like don't go back to work. I mean go back to the same mindset. But I think even if 1% of if 1% of this country like completely changes their life out of this, then that's actually massive.
And I don't think it's so binary as people going back or people not going back. You know, this experience plants a powerful seed in people's minds, and the realization happens not all at once. It happens very gradually, day after day, and people move their minds ever so slowly. I don't think there's any going back to the way things were. I think that remote work is going to become probably more popular than non-remote work, at least among jobs that have a possibility of doing it.
Yeah.
Because now the guardrails and the infrastructure around remote work have been forced to set up by anybody who possibly can. There's just no going back. Like, what is the company afraid of? That you're going to fucking be in your house jerking off and eating pizza all day?
Yeah.
Like, what? Do you not trust me? Like, fine, fire me if I can't do the work that you want. But it's like, why do you need to be watching behind my shoulder, watching me jerk off and eat pizza all day when I could just do it without you?
And you can get paid for that on the internet. You just have to, you know, turn on your webcam and
Like,
that's a job itself.
Yeah, there's companies that will hire me for this compared to being an accountant and then just doing it on the side.
Exactly. Yeah, the money will just be pouring in.
Yeah. Hey, you don't know unless you try.
Yeah. Yeah. No, though, this has forced companies into it, and I think a lot of companies will realize that maybe the same got done, maybe a little less got done, or maybe a lot, or maybe more got done, but the amount of cost savings offset by that, by say getting rid of their big office and all this stuff is going to be huge. And I think this is going to benefit a lot of businesses in that way, that realize that, you know, these kind of older style businesses that are still like in the office, the 9 to 5, like, you know, they've got all these things and they're paying $100,000 a month for their rent or whatever. I think remote work is now really happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I've noticed a bit of a shift in myself, making progress over the years in terms of different businesses. I guess one thing I'll say is it's really a crazy time because the last few years I've been stressed about money almost constantly, and and just I need to, like, I was really pushing the envelope with how much I was spending, and I was really trying to invest in myself and do the things I wanted to do, but I had the treadmill at a kind of high speed, and I was able to kind of keep up, but it's just I really needed to push myself in order to do it. And it feels like, in combination of moving to Austin and making progress year after year, I'm finally, fingers crossed, but finally getting to a point where I can just breathe a little bit and worry a lot less about money and making the money that I need. So that has been, for years, I've thought that would be a big boost to my creativity, and I think that it will be. I think.
Yeah, It is for sure. Because I even notice it just on the ebbs and flows of the worry. On the week-long spans where you're feeling like everything's amazing, I'm much more creative, much more like doing those other things. On the valleys, then it's just your mind just has to go back into that stress mode, and it really just like shuts off the creativity.
Yeah, it's money, at least in the world that we live in, is like oxygen, and it doesn't matter what your philosophical beliefs about money are. You need to fucking breathe. You need it, no matter, like, you need it. And as we've said, only way to not worry about money is to worry about money.
Yeah, that's the line, right? You gotta worry about it. Hustle that shit, figure it out, and then stop thinking about it. I mean, that's the goal. That's the path that I'm on, trying.
Yeah, and I found myself at this point, combination with everything, thinking less about where the opportunity is and more about what do I want to do, because I see the progress and the way things are going, and pretty soon I will have enough money to pretty much do what I want. Like, I don't know how to say that in a good way, but just like enough to not worry too much about it, and have these anyway. But it doesn't matter. It's like, at this point, it's like, oh, do I want to have $10 million or $100 million or $1 billion or have $1 trillion? Like,
trillion for sure.
Like, it's just a number. And why, and I'm realizing what really matters, especially now, is what do I want to build? What do I want to produce? Like, I can be creative, and do I want to make music or an app and this and that? And I'm taking steps too, because I read this Sam Altman essay a few years ago, like keys to being productive, and this line said, one of the things that you realize as time goes on, when you're younger and you learn something, it seems like a timely miracle. Wow, I learned it. But then as you age, you realize that if you apply yourself, you can learn anything. And I think that that's what I'm realizing now. And it's just that uncertainty of trying something new and the not knowing how anything works and feeling like you're bad at it. Well, you are bad at it because you're just starting, but you can get better. And I'm having more and more faith in the process. And because of that, I feel like I'm learning much faster.
Yeah. It's the creativity thing. I think when you've got the foundation of enough money, and I don't think that has to be 10 million, 100 million, a trillion. I think it's 15 to 20 grand plus a month. I feel like that's the threshold. And I think it's kind of a like sickness in a way that if you're at that threshold and you're like, no, I need 50. And then at 50, you're like, no, I need 150. Like I feel like then it's just a game. It's the rat race.
And the question is, what for?
Right. Yeah. You're just,
and it depends what the answer is, but you're right. It could just be, they could say something, but I think maybe what they mean is, I want to win and I want to be seen as a winner, and I want to drive out to the 7-Eleven and people to fucking smile because I have a cool car.
Yeah, maybe you have a great reason, right? Like, I don't mean that nobody has a great reason, but you have to know what the reason is. Because otherwise, I think anything above 15 to 20K a month, I think the like, why not pivot into learning new skills, like you said, doing creative projects? What do I want to build? What do I want to be seen in the world? I think that's the fun stuff. And I think that the marginal happiness of just chasing numbers above that, I think chasing up to that point makes a lot of sense. But like, I think chasing numbers only above that point, it's just a lost cause. I think that it's much more interesting to do creative projects and what you want to build. And it's easy to fall back into those traps too. Like I definitely do it all the time. But I'm always pushing towards what is pulling me now instead of just what works. There's plenty of things you could do. There's always things you could do that would work, right? Like, how do I capitalize on the pandemic, right? Like there's always opportunities that are going to be timely and just come up and things you could do, but like, what is actually a fit?
Yeah.
That kind of relates to that Instagram thing that we potentially were going to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
I can kind of set it up, and like, this is this obviously sounds like really bad, and like, sorry for the guy, but like I think people understand if they're this deep with us, they like understand we're not like horrible people, right? So
yeah, I don't know. I might take another. We'll see. I don't know. I feel like we might see it with a little bit different perspectives, but maybe I'll. Do you want me to?
Sure, go ahead. But I actually think we're gonna agree. Maybe
Okay.
You don't know what my perspective is on this, but
let's
just set
first.
the stage.
You
set
got
the stage
your doors
first.
open. Walk in.
Okay, well, we need to explain what we're talking about.
Okay.
So I saw on Instagram, this guy passed away. I don't know the guy. I'd never followed the guy, but somebody I follow, like, tagged that this guy, he does real estate. I don't remember his name. Sorry. But that he passed away, and that's very sad. And obviously that's very sad. That's not the argument, is to say it's not sad. But there was an element of it being a little ironic, because the guy was, a business hustler guy, right? He was like doing real estate, had like 20,000 followers, something like that, and had this like motto. And he passed away of cancer, and I assume he's in his 30s, maybe, like young. And yeah, horrible, obviously. But his motto was, I believe, hustle now, sleep later. And I think there was some amount of like very sad and unfortunate wake up call in that. Should I keep going with my perspective, or do you want to give your perspective now that I've set the stage?
Go for it. And now that I'm thinking about it, like, we'll think about it. I made a mark of the time just because I don't know, like, what if the guy's fucking family were to, I don't know, like, it's I feel a little bit weird, but I will explain the thoughts and we can decide later on if we want to keep it.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously that'd be terrible. I mean, like, and I don't, but that's the thing, is I don't think I would never say anything, but I mean, that's horrible what happened. Like, it's not about saying that. It's more talking about this concept.
For sure. I mean, I guess what I think is that it's everybody dies, and I don't think it makes sense to point to something. And I think that why do you think that by seeing this it makes you feel kind of more justified in your perspective, in the perspective of relax and take it easy?
I don't think it's one side or the other. I think it's a spectrum, and I think that it makes me more certain about the fact that life is not guaranteed or permanent, and which means that doesn't mean. But see, that's the thing, is like that I don't think that means you should never hustle. I just think it means if you the argument for only hustling is a massive risk, because you could die. And
well, yeah. It's like, I guess it's just a matter of the question really comes down to where are we getting our energy from? And I think that the Western way, the American way, is a very like brute force way of getting our energy, such as drinking a cup of coffee and automatically releasing all the norepinephrine and dopamine right away. But there's other ways to get energy that I think are more sustainable, and the idea behind hustle is to find what's meaningful and get it and fucking get it, because there's a lot of stuff in our mind that make us want to lay down and eat chips and watch Rick and Morty, but there's a power in saying no, like I am in control, not my mind. And I think that that's great. And I think that on different sides of it, people are gonna fucking get a perversion out of any message if they want to. And I guess I just think that it's up to I just think like I see you actually follow this guy. I don't even know who this guy is, but I see the value in the hustle and I see the value in the rest. And I think that if hustle means to do all you can, we also want to hustle as much as we can. It's just that we realize that it's a short-term strategy to not sleep at all, because it decreases the chances of doing more over time. So I don't know. I guess I just like, I want to be really careful to not make the hustlers a like something that I don't like, because then I polarize myself against it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything that you said. I don't want to lose my hustle ever. I think I've to some extent lost it more than I would want to, and that's just the flow that I've been in. But I just think like what people have to be careful with is like the kind of like the concept of like punting your 20s and just like completely not doing anything that you want to do. Like 100%.
Yeah, fuck that.
But I think that that's part of the hustle like mindset is that. And I think that the way you're thinking about it is the wholesome, like perfect way of thinking about it and describing it. But I think that there is clearly like a movement of people that are just like hustle only, like fuck doing anything else. Like you'll do that shit later. And I think that's what this is a wake up call for, is like, I just don't think that's right. I think that what you're saying is right, which is like, maybe it's 75 hustle, 25 chill, but it's not 100-0. Maybe it's 90-10, but it's not 100-0. Like you can't completely put off the things that you want to enjoy now. And if you 100% enjoy hustle, that's great. But like, if you don't enjoy hustle and you're forcing yourself to hustle 100% of the time because you're going to enjoy your life later, then that's not a good path.
Yeah. And the question, I think that it just comes down to asking yourself, everybody is searching for a feeling. We're all searching for a feeling. One time I said that to a friend. He was like, no, I want to do things. I want to make change. And I was like, no, you're searching for a feeling. And he was like, yeah, I guess you're right. But what feeling are we searching for? And if somebody is going to punt their 20s in search of a feeling, then the question is, what feeling do you want? What feeling do you want? And if you really are searching for a good feeling, then it's not going to feel like a punt, because to be going after something that really feels meaningful doesn't feel like punting. And also, if it really feels meaningful, then it's going to be so obvious that you need to sleep. You're going to be able to reach a state of calmness that your mind just sees it. It's not a political argument. It's not a matter of opinion. It's just, oh, okay, I should sleep because that makes my mind be in a better place. And I guess that's the thing, is like, I think that a lot of people that are in this culture just don't fully realize it, and they think that there's going to be some benefit, or they want to be seen in such a way, in which case the question is, what feeling am I chasing? I want people to see me as successful. Well, why do I want that? Because I think that would feel good. And well, why do I think it would feel good? Because I don't know. I don't see myself as successful, and I wasn't picked last on the gym class in 6th grade or something. Like,
Yeah, I think you're definitely onto something.
I
with
was picked
people.
last, not wasn't.
I was too. I think.
I wasn't. It was an example.
Well, I was.
I was like, maybe middle of the pack.
Yeah, no, I think chasing. I think most people are. Yeah, it's like people don't want the things. People don't want the success. People want like that affirmation of whatever people will view them as for that thing. And I think one thing to clarify, just like back onto like the hustle and sleep thing is.
So the guy died because he disagrees with you.
Right.
I'm kidding.
So what I want to clarify is like, obviously I think sleep is incredibly important, but I'm seeing this as a metaphor. Like, I don't think I'm not reading it as literally like hustle now, don't sleep is what he's saying. I'm saying that's not what he's saying. And I'm not taking it that way. I think what he's saying is like hustle versus, let off the gas or have what you want. Like, it's not about literally not sleeping, but either way, I think like, but that's the way I just want to say that because that's the framework I'm looking at it with. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, the guy died because he wasn't sleeping. I'm just saying like, no, it's more about the lack of a guarantee for having time later.
Forgetting about the guy specifically, it just causes you to think about. It sparks a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, can we take?
I feel.
Sorry, can we take like a quick second? Because I just saw I got a text that.
I think that there's a lot of people that are really like pushy and this can even, let's just put this on the podcast too, like brief synopsis. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even want to break it, but like
we're back on. This is this is a podcast.
Like, some people are pushy and they expect you to meet their needs right now, and I've just become more attuned to that over the years. And it's like, just because I set a boundary does not mean I have to match their frantic energy. And if they want to get upset and they want to flail their arms, fine. Yeah. But look, I can have my opinion, and they are not allowed to inflict damage upon me, and that's how it is.
Quick context, if that's part of the podcast and we just cut back in, I assume that was in it.
Yeah.
Basically, my landlord texted me something and it was annoying, and I mean, we can explain because I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
So something we're going to get to later in the podcast is that I'm moving, which we can talk about more like after this. And I got distracted, so we paused the podcast a bit and was dealing with the situation that my current landlord, who we've given 30 days or whatever that we're going to be out, texts that she wants to show the place right now. Like, we're still living here and there's a fucking pandemic, and like Sam's like in my ear, like telling me what to say and like coaching me on, like, dude, like, no, there's a fucking pandemic, you can't let people in. And I was just getting all like worked up about it, and it's just such an example. And then basically, long story short, the agent said that a video would be fine. So freak out averted. But yeah, it's just, to be honest, like, we've had like we're deep in the podcast, fuck it, but like, we've just had so many issues with her, like early on, like years back, and it's just like, that's why my reaction to anything with her is elevated, which is, as you were saying, it's like a great way to like practice your reactions, because with her, it's like she says anything and it makes, how your mom can probably say something and it just makes you like snap. But other people,
as a timely example.
But other people, like, it's probably pretty hard for me to like piss you off the way that your mom pisses you off. I would guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So that's the thing, is that like my landlord has that, because we've had just some crazy fucking situations with her. So now it's like I'm on like the last straw, like any second. So when there's anything, I just like go to immediate like worst case scenario. I'm like, fuck everything.
Some people have almost no sense of boundary.
Yeah, I guess since I'm leaving this place, I mean, do we want to go down a rabbit hole of the time that she?
I don't think we should. Let's just talk. Fuck
Okay.
I mean, not fuck.
But I don't
the
know if you've
podcast,
heard this. Not
like
right. We're just talking.
talk about what we're interested in. Yeah.
But this is well, okay. This is what I'm interested in. Unless you want to change the subject. But
No, dude. What's in a normal conversation? Fuck it. Like I'm. Yeah.
did I ever tell you about the time that
Yeah.
she thought I was dealing drugs and brought the police?
What?
Yeah, this happened like a month after. No, not even a month after moving in, and my garage was broken right after moving in, and I have the Porsche, and I was like, very concerned about this garage, and I can't even lock it, and I have all my products in my garage, and it's like, dude, I need to have this garage secured. I need to have my car in there. Like, this is, and she just like wouldn't fix it. Oh, I'm sending the guy. Like, oh no, it just like went on for like months, and she knew I had like an e-commerce business. Like, she knew I had boxes, and she knew they were in the garage and all this stuff. And one day she says, I'm coming to fix the garage. I'm like, holy fuck, she's coming to fix the garage. Holy shit. Like, it's the best day of my life, right? So a few hours later, knock at the door. I like fucking like run down the stairs. Like, I'm so pumped. And I open the door, and there's my landlord and 2 police officers and cops pulled up in the street. And I'm like, what the fuck? And she was completely convinced that I was a drug dealer, and that's why I needed the garage to be secured and all this shit. And it was one of the most shocking moments of my life. I was like,
why did she think that?
So somehow, by the way, this was before weed was legal, which is interesting. And
Okay.
somehow, I don't know what happened. There was an invoice that somebody found. Like, somebody who lived at this property had probably ordered weed from like one of these like medical delivery services or something. Yeah. And she was convinced that was an invoice of somebody buying weed from me. And I was
Invoice.
like, I don't know what this is. It wasn't me.
Like, do you think fucking people buying weed send their weed dealer a fucking invoice?
Well, I think it was like she thought it was some like legit fucking operate. I don't know. It was so whack. I remember looking at the paper because they let me see it, and I was just like, I couldn't make sense of it. I was like, wait, is this for somebody selling it, for somebody buying it? I'm like, what is this?
Do you think that the cartels send the transporters invoices?
Dude, 100%. They're like signed with a notary and like
we just
a
have to make
stamp.
sure that we have a paper trail.
Yeah. Right. So, but then it became so funny because I was like, oh, this is why she was delaying fixing the garage. She was like building her case. She was like trying to find more evidence. She was like piecing it all together. She's like, oh my God, I got this fucking drug dealer staying in my place and all this shit. And luckily
She wanted that to.
Luckily, I feel like within 5 minutes of talking to the cops and her, the cops were like, I think this lady's crazy. Basically.
Which
So,
it becomes obvious.
yeah.
Somebody that's crazy cannot hide it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, I mean, overall things have ended up being good, and that's why we stayed here so long. And so, sorry if you're listening, landlord, but the craziest shit was like after this happened and she realized it was like nothing, she never said it was never mentioned again. Like, it was never mentioned. There was no.
That's what allows someone to actually. No apology.
Yeah. Wait, what do you mean?
That's what allows somebody to get crazy if they are unable to reflect on their actions out of some sort of fear of being wrong. Then they never reflect and they never learn, and they just get crazier and crazier and crazier.
Yeah, and that was what made us crazier and crazier too, because we were just like, within the first few days, we're just like, wait, so what's gonna happen now? Like, is she gonna keep thinking we're crazy? Like, is she convinced that we're drug dealers still? And then it just
some people just look for trauma.
It basically was like it was basically just a slow taper from holy shit, she thinks we're drug dealers, to eventually just like us being relatively chill with each other. There was like no discussion of it, no like, sorry, I fucking freaked out and brought cops to your house right after you moved in. Like, nothing. It was just kind of like a slow trickle back to things being like remotely normal. And now I feel like we're like her favorite tenants or something. It's so strange. But I've always just, ever since then, there's plenty of stories, but ever since that one, I was just like, dude, like, the first few months we were here, like, we were like, do we fucking leave? Like, what do we do? Like, but it really got better. And obviously this place has the beach and like so many amazing things. So we stayed, but like, dude, No wonder the price is good. But yeah, that's the story of the cops showing up to my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think boundaries is so important, especially when you get older, because when you're younger, you're a kid. People are just like tell you what's right and what's wrong and what you can be okay with and what not. And I mean, this is something that I'm dealing with my mom right now, and I've realized that. So like I never had a dad, so it's just me and my mom. And I've realized that there's no third party, there's no third perspective. It's not in 3 dimensions, but in 2 dimensions for me. And I've had this realization, based on had a realization kind of recently that it's like she puts a lot of like pressure on me and a lot of like guilt on me and a lot of expectations for me to act in what she wants me to be, and not a lot of respect for what I feel comfortable with. And because of that, it's caused me to feel kind of uncomfortable when we talk. And I've been trying to bring it up for years, and every time it's like, well, a good son would just listen, or a good son would just do this or that. And she's great in a lot of ways, of course, the disclaimer aside. But I've just been realizing that I don't need to listen to her definition of boundaries and her definition of what I should be. I am a fair thinker. I think fairly from what I can tell, and I think that it's a way that I do not want to be talked to, the way that she talks to me, the way that there's a certain kind of pushiness in the way of talking where you're kind of, the energy is either balanced or it's being really pushed outwards at someone. If I was telling you a story and I was like, yeah, and then I talked to her and you will not believe what she said. She said that I was doing this to her, and then what she said was that when I and listen to what I'm saying. Listen, Matt, listen. And the next thing is like, oh my God, like that's just it's a way of talking, and I can control what I say. I can control how I feel. I can control what I tell people how I feel. But if I tell someone how I feel and they're like, well, why do you feel that way? What's wrong with me just asking you about your health insurance? What's wrong with me about this and that? And I'm like, but I feel this way. She's like, well, and it's this pattern of like, you have no reason to feel that way. And for a while I would try and defend it, be like, well, I feel it because this and that, and defend it for years, and she'd just get like more and more upset. And what I've realized is that, everyone's trying their best in a sense, and I have no hard feelings about it, but I also am at this point, it's a boundary. Like, look, you cannot talk to me like this because it's not a fair expectation, and
damn,
I need to put up that wall. And look, like, this is gonna be the way it is. Like, I just have to trust myself with it, and it's scary too because it's my mom, and I don't have any other immediate family.
Yeah, wow. You're right about everything though, and it reminds me of a conversation I was just having with a friend, how interesting it is that kind of at our age and our sort of level of thinking clearly, like you said, and maturity in some sense, how we can see like our parents' generation being so immature, and how interesting that is. Like how it's like how the tables have turned, how we'll like our like my parents or my friend was mentioning about his parents, like just like his mom just saying something like super passive aggressive that to like his dad, that like like you just wouldn't, like you would just know that shit is gonna not land well, and like you say it anyways. It's like, dude, like I feel like our age, like in this like 30 age, like we know, like we're like we know how our bombs are gonna land, like when we say them to people, so like we're careful about what we say. And it's like, right, there's this immaturity that goes down to like like it's like a reverse like spectrum of like people that are like 13 like don't give a fuck what they say, and people that are like 65 like don't give a fuck what they say. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're doing the right thing.
I think so too. And like you said something like you're right about it. And my definition of being right, it's not about the outcome. It's not about maybe I'll realize something that I'm wrong, but it's about intention. And I just know that I have a good intention with it. And I know like there's this fear like, like what if something happened to my mom, like, and there's a pandemic going around and this and that, like I don't want to end on not being on perfect terms, but then I think I also don't want to end keeping in what I feel and in a sense just having a fake relationship because I'm too afraid of basically saying how I feel because I'm afraid of how it'll affect someone's mood or whatever. Like I'm not, I know like I think sometimes, and I talk to him, I'm like, look, like it's not, I'm not trying to be like threatening about it. I just really like have been trying for so many years to tell you how I feel about this, and I feel like you're not really listening. And then she thinks she's like, no, it is a threat. It is a threat. I'm like, no, like it's not. And like, like if she thinks that I'm just doing it to try and threaten, then it's like we cannot change how other people feel, and I can't change if she thinks I'm trying to hurt her, right? It's easy to ascribe or whatever intention to someone's actions, but if I know that that's not my intention, then there's just this disconnect. And I actually feel like the reason that I'm good with customer service and communication is because of the interactions over the years and of being able to upset her in so many ways and trying in so many ways to not upset her, and then realizing that no matter how hard I try, unless I really just swallow, like don't express myself at all in the way that I want, in a way that feels genuine, it's going to upset her. And because of that, I feel like I've been jumping through these hoops for so long, which has forced me to really think through what's reasonable and what's not. So I am grateful for it in that sense.
Damn. Yeah. Well, I can relate on some levels, but yeah, no, that's definitely crazy stuff. It's like, it's just weird. Like when that type of shit opens up, it's just like, oh fuck. Like, but there's just always so much to be dealt with in those areas. I think I used to feel some sort of, it's natural to feel like blaming your parents where you feel like they could have done better. I really don't feel that anymore because number one, I got so much, like she's a great mom in a lot of ways. And like when I was in middle school and I collected autographs, she took me to the baseball games and we'd go 2 hours early and I'd get autographs and we'd stay 2 hours late and like go outside, and like football games, like we wouldn't even have tickets because those were expensive, but we'd go after the game sometimes, get autograph, and like she would do anything for me. So she, like, of course, right, any parent, there's the good and there's the whatever else there is. Difficult. Yeah. There's definitely some parallels with my mom, and I wonder if it's just because of like similar backgrounds or something that like we both have. But yeah, like my mom was like that too, like always would do anything, but then at some level it almost becomes like that's what they can like hold against you or something. It's
that's
like
the collateral.
Yeah, that's the collateral. And now it's like, oh well, now I have to lay all my problems onto you. And like, yeah, I mean, maybe not the best solution, but I feel like for me, I've just honestly just like become more disconnected, which is like maybe not the best solution, but
well, in a sense, it's the only solution.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like it seems necessary. I mean, I was gonna say it seems necessary, but like, I mean, obviously, you see people that have like really, really close relationships with their parents, but yeah, no, it sounds like I'm not gonna just be like, oh yeah, yeah, dude, like mine's exactly the same. Like, and it's not, but like, I do see some. I can relate on some level,
Of course,
for sure.
And a lot of people experience similar things. I would say probably especially in your 20s is a time for that.
Yeah, like after you've like, moved and, they're like lonelier. Like it's just it honestly seems like one of those things that there's like no perfect solution to. It's like they want more from you and you just like it's just you're just on a different trajectory.
Yeah, and it's my I don't feel any second guessing about it because I'm doing what I feel is right, and it's coming from a place of love too. Because if it comes from a place of love, I'm gonna tell people. Like, if I feel like I need to tell you something, then I'm gonna tell you, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable. If I feel like you're treating me away, like I have to share how I feel, and because of that, I treat people in the way that I would want to be treated, and it's not any different for this. So there is no controlling the outcome, but there's controlling how I think about it, and there's a lot of peace in that. And I also I speak with a therapist where I talk this through, and that helps me think it through. What I've realized over time is a lot of times we feel people's energies, but it's subconsciously a lot. And I'm becoming more conscious of it is when someone is people try and manipulate other people, but not intentionally. It's just kind of their way of being, where they have a little bit too high expectations and they're putting their energy on you in such a way that they want you to like validate them very, very aggressively. And some people do it, and you just feel this subtle, like you feel like they're like almost like getting too close to you or like pushing themselves on you, and it's uncomfortable. And what I've realized is that it's a lot less about the words that people are saying and a lot more about how you feel when you're around them, because that tells you a lot.
Damn. Yeah. Or how you feel through a Zoom call.
Yeah, and it translates over Zoom somehow. So
yeah.
Over video. Yeah, not fully, but it does.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely harder to like pick up on that underlying thing, I think, a little bit more. But it's still there, which is interesting. But
absolutely. I mean, I think that disagreeing with our parents really cuts to the core of a common theme across life, which is, am I going to do what I think people want me to do in order to get their love? It's kind of one of the core examples of that. And I think that what I've done recently, very, very recently, in like the last month probably, is say, no, like all I can control is whether I'm true to myself with this, and that's what I'm going to do. And I honestly feel a lot of freedom. I feel a lot of freedom. So yeah, it's been kind of a growth experience.
Yeah. So I'm curious about like the therapist thing, because I feel like that must be so fucking beneficial. So are you going to like, did you find somebody new out there, or did you do like remote? Like what?
Yeah, I do remote. So I found this great therapist in LA, basically I listened to a podcast who would mention this comedian I listened to, he mentioned his name a few times early a few years ago, and I looked up the guy, I contacted him, long story short, I started seeing him, and yeah, I would go in LA, and now we're doing it over Zoom, so it's very beneficial, for sure, I would say.
As somebody that's like never done it, like, what do you get out of it? Like, what do you walk away from a session like feeling?
Tim Ferriss had a therapist on his show maybe a week or two ago, and she said therapy is like getting a really good second opinion on your life. And that's how I feel. It's getting another perspective and seeing it through someone's eyes and telling someone something, and then they'll kind of phrase it back in their own way, how they see it, and you're like, oh yeah, like maybe I could change in this way, maybe I am not crazy, maybe this and that, and just having it be able to be mirrored back to you, you learn so much more.
Yeah. So does he like sort of provoke you to talk about certain subjects, or do you just kind of go on a ramble and see where it goes? Like, is there a framework?
More of the second one.
Yeah. And then so what's new, Sam? And you just start talking about stuff, and then you might like dig into like something that sort of.
Yeah, I would say, without even the question, what's new, Sam? It just starts.
That's cool.
And it's up to me, right? I can either talk about the things that are really top of mind, or I can kind of avoid that if I don't want to go there, and wherever I want to go with it is where it goes.
That's cool.
I mean, I feel really lucky. I had a therapist. The first one I had was back in Maryland, who, looking back on it, was like, okay, but he kind of was like falling asleep during our sessions, and he kind of would just like ask me questions, and it was helpful, but like the guy I have now is like 10 times. It's like great.
That's really cool, dude. Yeah. Probably definitely something I should look into at some point. It seems like
I
super
recommend
beneficial. It's cool.
Yeah.
What else is on your mind, Sam? It's like, this is the therapy session. Oh my god.
Yeah. So I'm building this app I told you about, birthdays.app.
Birthdays.app.
Yeah, dude. For so long, I've got the domain bitcoin.guide, and I want to build these apps and this software, and I realized like I haven't really done that in a while, and I also, at this point, I'm not gonna code it and design it myself, because number one, I don't have the time. Number two, it just doesn't make sense to do everything myself. So how am I gonna build something and hire someone and really try and do the best that I can? And I don't want to start on a really complex app, because there's probably so much I'll learn. So I'm gonna do a simple app that I've had an idea for a while, which is getting reminders for your friends' birthdays with a text message. I've wanted that. I actually built it for myself because I forget sometimes, and I'm excited. Like I found a designer that I hired, and I'm gonna find. I think that design is actually the hardest part, because once you have the designs and the screens, then it's very binary whether a coder is going to do it right or not. It's like, does it match the spec or not? But I'm in the process of creating the screens and how I want it to look, and fucking excited to like build software. It feels like such a missing piece in the learning for me. And if I can do that, like, which I'm going to be able to, like, I get energized thinking about it.
Yeah, what this could translate to is limitless, and I'm excited because I remember you probably first ran this idea by me like 2 or 3 years ago. I feel like, so I know it's one that it seems like the perfect thing to run with, and it sounds like, I mean, for me it would be immensely complicated, but it sounds like for you it's not that complicated, which is great to just like kind of crank it out. But how complex is it? Like, as somebody that doesn't really understand like what goes into building anything, like, how complex is it to make that thing work? Like, so it's text based, so people understand. It's like, how do you set that shit up?
Complex. Like, I mean, the hardest part is just asking yourself that question exactly, because you don't know until you know. But here's how I'm thinking about it. Okay, when I started designing, when I did some software stuff in college, and I would always start writing code first and then kind of design it as I went, I realized actually what I need to do is figure out first what I want the functionality to be, what I want the app to look like and function like, because then I know what I need for the technology. So the first step is just the visualization and trying to figure out, oh, do I want it to be a web app or a iOS app? And I'm starting with a web app just because that's easier, and it's really, there's not a huge benefit to not doing it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll start that way, and I will. I was like, okay, so like, there's just these little decisions like web app or this or that, and I choose that, and well, what's the name gonna be? Birthdays.app, and what is this and that, and how do I find a designer? And I found a designer, and now I'm working with him. We're going back and forth and trying to design what I want it to look like, and then I'll have to find somebody to build it. And I also, well, how do I do that? And I want it to be scalable. I don't want it to just be like what they call in computer science spaghetti code, just like thrown together. I want to be able to hire somebody else in the future that can very easily understand this and build upon it. And so it's like, I think I'll be able to do that too, because I did computer science in school, and I, not an expert, but I have a sense for like what technologies might be used, and just like if someone knows what they're talking about. So it's been, so yeah, I'm just one step at a time, but I hope to have it soon. Like it's not that complicated of a thing, and I would like to have the tech built very soon.
What, like weeks? What's very soon?
I mean, hopefully, yeah.
Sweet.
Like, there's no, who knows, but as soon as possible.
Yeah, no, like I definitely don't think you should underestimate like how much you do know about this. Cause like for me to go into something like this, I would ask you, cause I would be like, dude, if I hire a designer, how do I even know that that's going to like work with the actual like function? And like I don't understand how those worlds connect, you know, like I can hire a designer. I understand good design, and I understand how to hire like a coder, but like to even make sure that those two can be like compatible is where I wouldn't know what the hell I was looking at.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess that does help. I have like a general idea. Like, well, of course I can send text messages, and yeah, you're right. I understand the technology to know pretty much what's buildable. So
I also think web app actually makes more sense. I think I would be more likely to like, I assume it would be basically like go to a website, sign up, put in your friends' names and phone number, or not even phone, put in your friends' names and birthday, and then you get a text message. Like versus like downloading an app almost feels unnecessary. Like I feel like I would be much less likely to download a standalone app.
Yeah,
maybe I'm not picturing it correctly.
I mean, I think I see both as being easy, where the website is a little bit easier to start. The app is a little bit easier to access, just because it's like, it feels like when you have an app that's like more permanent and you have a sense of you're not going to have to log in every time. Whereas the web app, it's like, you might have to log in again, this and that. But
yeah,
I'm going to make it, it's going to be like very easy.
Yeah.
I think it's going to get, who knows, right? I always think shit's going to get popular when I build it. Otherwise I wouldn't. But I have a feeling that it's going to get popular. And I also think about, at first I was just going to launch it simply, but now I'm thinking maybe I should just take a little bit extra time, build in like a paid tier, or maybe just not even build it in at first, but at least have the designs and realize what the paid tier is going to be. Dude, I'm excited. I think it's the perfect little simple software project to get me off the ground. And I also think that it could make some money, which if it makes money, it will be able to spread wide, because the money can then be funneled into ads to generate more awareness.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think doing a paid tier would be wise for sure. I don't know, like, I mean, have you given thought into what features would be unlocked with paid?
I have.
We don't
have to go in too deep, but I mean, it's people's birthdays, and there's shit you could do for that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of ideas. We could, I'm already thinking of some ideas, but don't have to reveal everything. But yeah, no, I love it. I think it could spread. It seems like something you'd like see on Product Hunt or something like that for sure.
That's what another friend said to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should figure out how to. I don't even know like the process of getting something on there really, but maybe you should look into it.
Yeah, when I started with stuff, I would really focus on the launch and something like Product Hunt and the Reddit and you're going to email your friends and this and that. But what I realized over time is that if the product is actually giving people value, then it's going to spread through almost any channel, and it's much less about the launch and much more about just the continual growth. Because if you grow by 10% a week, it's not going to matter whether you got to 3,000 on day one.
That is true. If you have like
especially
regular
understanding paid channels.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, I'm excited, and I also like I love this framework, like the text app. Like I think there are probably a lot of other interesting things that could be built within that.
Yeah, man, being able to like think of and build software, dude, it's so fun to like acquire. It's just fun to like learn shit and acquire skills, and like it's uncomfortable to learn it, but once you get past that discomfort, like being able to build software, and then if I go from 0 to this, then maybe I can go from this to the next thing, and also like understanding the marketing now and understanding the business sense and understanding that stuff. Like it feels like these different skills are all coalescing.
Totally.
And it's energizing.
Are you able to say like a ballpark of what something like this would cost to be built?
Not right now, but I don't think it's gonna be crazy. Like I don't want to put out a number, but like not I don't know. I don't want to put out a number. We'll see as I go.
Yeah, I'm just curious because like I feel like it'd be really cool to come up with not similar ideas in the sense of it being like birthdays or whatever, but like similar in just like this platform.
Anniversary.app.
Yeah, I bought that domain like as we were talking.
Like with your
like,
left hand under the camera on your phone.
Reminders.app.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, there's just so many ideas, like just like I don't know, it could be like an obvious one would be like this probably exists, but like a daily quote for a certain like a stoicism quote every day or something would probably be something that would be popular right now.
For sure. Yeah, man, I want to be able to have an idea for a simple thing like that and then just have the infrastructure in place to then make it. And for a while I've gotten lazy and it's just put it off learning a new skill, but now I'm just like, I'm doing this and I'm going to figure it out. So yeah, it's exciting for this, exciting to see what'll happen. I'm trying to set it up so that even if it does grow, I still don't have to spend that much time on it. Yeah,
no, I get the sense that you're kind of doing this at like a new level. Like instead of just completely scrapping it together, like, you know, you're having designers, you're having, you know, programmers, you're like, you're building this in what feels like something much bigger. Like whether this is just the training grounds for that, like, or it's the thing itself. Like it feels like a great, like you're clearly giving this that type of approach, which I think is like the skills that you will build from that alone are going to be huge.
Dude, I think back to like college, and I got like really kind of obsessed with entrepreneurship early, and I was like, oh my God, like there's so much you can do. And then I went down the rabbit hole, like, oh my God, like someone can give you, if maybe someone gives you 10% or $100,000 for 10% of your company. Like imagine getting $100,000 and all you have to give is 10% of your company. And oh my God, imagine having employees, and like that would be so cool to have employees. And imagine if I was the CEO, and imagine if there was an office and this, and then eventually I realized like I want the freedom. I want to be able to move, and I do not want to commit to an idea for the next 3 to 5 years, which is pretty much what the expectation is if you're raising money from the outside. And it's taken a while, but I feel like because I've faced a lot of these skills by myself and not with a team, I've been forced to get more broad, and I'm so happy with that because I have so much flexibility to go in any direction and to start the projects and to kill the projects when I want, and it's still a work in progress, but like for me it's all about the flexibility.
Yeah. No, I love like just the side project sort of culture, like, because I mean, I've never like been hugely excited by like kind of like venture capital and like all of that, and the thought of committing to like one idea no matter what for 5 years. I mean, 5 years is like a serious chunk of your life. Like that's a big commitment, especially if like what you're doing is, I mean, maybe if it's something you're like extremely passionate about. Again, like with all these examples, like there's always somebody that it's the perfect thing for. But, I don't feel like I have that. But then again, like I also feel like the businesses I do have like aren't that exciting to me either. So,
it's time and place. There's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. But no, I'm really happy you're like doing a project like this.
Yeah, and I'm into the side project culture. Recently I've been thinking, I don't like the term side project culture because it side project, it's just a project. And I think calling it a side project almost limits the potential in my own mind of it. It's like what's the difference between every main project was first a side project? So I don't want to label something a side project.
That's true. Like it's not the right word. I don't know what the right word is, but I guess I just like that it's not like you didn't like set up an LLC. You didn't like do all this shit. It's kind of just like, hey, let's like put this together, throw it out there, and maybe it'll be something huge someday. But like there's like a certain sense of like the startup part of it is relatively small scale, I guess.
Right. And I'm running it. Let's go.
No, just like however big it might get. But the actual startup of it is less of a like huge commitment. It's kind of a little bit like on the side at the beginning, at least.
Absolutely, yeah. Which is the side project part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it under my current LLC right now, and then I actually would like to have another LLC for it, but I'm just like, all right, let's start it simple, and then what you can do is you can create. Later on, I'll create a new one, and then the accounting, you just transfer the purchases and everything, and
see, that's what I'm saying though. Is like that's how like I start with projects too.
Yeah.
But like if you were in some cases, like if you were going to jump into that 5-year business or whatever, then you're like most likely you're gonna be like no like let's like get everything in place for this like big launch and like all that shit, because it's like this kind of like all in mentality versus like let's just like get this off the ground and then set things up and clean up later, which is the way I do it as well.
Yeah. Recently I've been maybe I'll actually play it. This Steve Jobs quote, I think I can get it pretty easily. Hold on. It's this idea of like everything in the world was created by people.
Oh yeah, I love that
just
one.
like you. Let me see if it plays. It's about to start, I think.
So the thing
Can you
I
hear
would
it?
say is,
Yeah.
when you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world. Try not to bash into the walls too much. Try to have a nice family life. Have fun. Save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. and you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it. That's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.
Yeah, that is such a good clip. Like, that's one you can listen to every day. Like, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like true. It's like everybody that has created something has had to figure it out along the way. There's no magic pill. You don't spin around 3 times and juggle a thing and then you sit down and the magic is here. There's no magic. It's just learning and having the ability to sit in the discomfort of what seems vague and unclear and unknown.
Yeah, and even before the actual learning of it, which anyone could potentially do or try, it's just even realizing that you don't have to be a passenger watching the world. Like, you can actually create. Like, I think that's so insane. Like,
yeah,
you just don't really have to like be within the railings that are put up. Like, you can do things differently. You could like leave the country. You could start something that's never been done before. Like, you can, whether it's like tech and businesses or it's just hobbies and lifestyle, like, you just don't have to. The most obvious sort of passive life that we were all sort of dropped into is not the only way.
it's like you could start like a center that has tigers and people can come and see the tigers, and you can create a music video if you want, and you can even make a song if you want, be a musical artist.
And then you can run for president, and you can
do anything.
You could even breed the tigers and let people pet them and sell the tigers for a few $1,000 a pop.
They get too old to make you money anymore, and then there's no harm in just, dig a hole, take care of business.
You just shoot him in the head and put him in the back.
I was kind of beating around the bush, but yeah, that's that's a more direct way of saying it.
And you can start a cult as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, or you could you start a Shopify website.
Yeah, what do I sell on Amazon? Sardine oil is the best product to sell on Amazon.
Yep. Yeah, man, I think that recently that Steve Jobs quote has sunk in even more as I kind of feel this stuff growing. It's more and more it's less of I have to do this, I have to be successful, and more I want to build things, and I get satisfaction out of being able to visualize change and then being able to take steps towards that. It feels very satisfying, and it feels like purposeful. So I don't know. It's there is no end point, and I'm realizing that it's like the moment is just always here. It's always here, and it's been more obvious with coronavirus and staying inside all the time, and it's just, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? And the question is never going to get old. And I think that it's just, it's a game of self. I'm realizing more and more.
Yeah, damn. I love the perspective, and I love that you're starting things. And isn't the startup like just the ideation and actually getting going and getting something up, like for me, that is just the best part.
Yeah.
It really is. Like I would love like someday I wish I could just like have all of like the infrastructure and team and people to just like come up with shit and just be like, let's do this. And then just like throw another thing out into the world.
Yeah, well, you move closer and closer to that, and it's not binary, but there are systems that can be put in place to more or less do that. And if you are able to find people that you really respect their tastes and the way they think and the way they think about things, then you're able to, it's like Legos, but with people, sort of. Or with, but with people to, I don't know, whatever analogy we want to.
Sure, yeah. But
yeah, it's going to be powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just like, what do you do every day? What do you do every day? What do you want to do every day? Like, how do you want to feel? And this has made it obvious. It's like, okay, like, yeah, like there is, I don't think that having a ton of money is going to make me that much happier than I already am. So it's like, well, then what? What do I want to do? Okay, I want to build things. And then it's just like, okay, yeah. It's like, I'm also taking this music course and I want to make good music and this and that. And maybe I can do both. So it's fun to feel like that.
You've already started the music course, or it's?
Yeah, I'm just like dabbling because it's all so new and everything with the business is going on. But so I haven't actually made anything much yet. But yeah, I'm doing the online course.
That's so cool, dude. That's awesome. I can't wait to like hear stuff you make and like once you've kind of moved further along with it. It's fun.
Yeah.
Did you end up
it's just a
getting
matter of like. Yeah, I did.
Sorry,
I got the Akai MPK Mini 2.
Perfect. Sweet.
The MIDI keyboard.
That's awesome. So much fun.
Yeah, and it was cool too. I had like 20 minutes every 2 weeks. You have a one-on-one Skype with the instructor, and he's such a cool guy. Like he was really, really helpful, and I would just like I hadn't done the assignment, but I was just like asking him questions that had come up during the lessons, and yeah, it was super interesting to like kind of get clarity. I was like, well, do you think that can anything be made in real life with instruments that cannot be made in Ableton? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. Like Ableton's good, but it's not a replacement for real instruments. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, is that why electronic music is a little bit like choppier in a sense? It's like a bunch of these little samples that are added up to make sounds, but it's not as smooth as you'd say an instrument. And he was like, yeah, that's why. So just interesting this is very, very, very new for me to be making music and in this software, and I'm just kind of letting it sink in, but I see it as a long-term thing, and I'm excited to keep learning.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm saying it forever, but I need to get back into it, but I just don't think like I'm on the right, like I just need to like focus on like
you don't need to do anything.
True. Well, I mean, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I don't know, it just yeah, shit. I walked into it. Yeah. Just my head's not in the clearest space, I guess, at the moment.
You need to get your head into a clear space.
Do I need to? It would be nice.
Yeah, it's not a matter of like. Yeah, I say it because I think that the mindset of that is what allows the growth. Because if I need to do something, then it's a rule set by who set that rule? Who set that rule? Is it some society? Is it myself inside my head? The little me inside my head that likes to hold a whip. Like that's not a fun way to experience my own consciousness. So instead, it's like, all right, you you judge inside my head, like, just, I promise you, like, can we delay the trial for 2 weeks while I just do what I want to do because I think that you're going to be satisfied. And I think it generally works out that way.
Yeah. Delay the trial. That's great. What other talking points do we have? Because
You got a cat.
I did get a cat, which has been pretty awesome. It's just nice to have like something alive. It just adds like a certain. It adds a certain quality to like your home. I think it just feels. It feels nice. This is almost like a stretch, but there is like a weird, like forced meditation of being with an animal, I think. And it's just like, it's one of those things. It's like you can like, you know, try to sit on the couch and try to breathe and like, you know, try to not think your thoughts or whatever. But like, or you can just like lay down next to a pet and realize like that shit doesn't have a phone. Like that thing is just like there. It's like here. And it's like, oh, right. Like, let's just like be in this space and like pet each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she's been great. It's been a lot of fun. And yeah, it just changes like the vibe in a really nice way. And yeah, we got her like not quite 2 months ago, but she's like almost 6 months old right now. But she's grown, she's like doubled in size in that time period. It's ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she was like really small, and now she's like a full cat, so she's probably gonna end up like gigantic. But yeah, yeah, I put that on the list, but I don't really know what else to say. But it's just been really like, it's just been great. And it's like the thing is like we weren't supposed to have pets here, and like eventually blah blah blah. Like kind of relates back full circle. Wow, she just came in. She knows I'm talking to her about her. She literally just like walked in the room. But yeah, it's just one of those things like it just seems so obvious, and like we wanted it for so long but like couldn't, and then it was just like, yeah, then coincidentally like figure it out, get it, cause shit with the same landlord. This is like all coming full circle, and then end up deciding to move. So not because of the cat, but yeah, it's just funny how like these things are all like tying together. It's in weird ways.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's cool. I imagine it's nice. It's nice having that around.
Yeah, it's great. It's just like you can just tell like they just don't have like the mental bullshit that we have.
Yeah, it's
like
not trying to get followers.
Right. They're just like I don't know. Like they just have no like shame.
It's like, what? I'm a cat. What? I'm gonna do cat things. Is that okay? I don't.
Yeah.
I asked, but I don't really care what you think. I'm just gonna do cat things. Okay.
and
That's what they like. They don't
just
give a fuck.
They're just not worried about it. Like, for example, if you're like standing next to somebody and you're like your shoulders like brush against each other, there's like this odd like, oh, like that shouldn't have happened, I guess. Whereas like a cat just like walks across you. Like you just met this cat and it's just gonna like step on your face. Like it's
funny.
But yeah, no, it's really enjoyable. But
yeah, man.
Yeah, I guess we should get in, since I don't want to go too much longer because you're gonna have dinner and stuff in a bit. But
yeah.
The move stuff, I would definitely want to talk about.
Oh my god,
especially
I forgot
because
about
like
that.
Yeah, so I think it's especially interesting to talk about because we've like talked about this on the podcast like so many times.
So much.
You know? So it's like it's weird to see the evolution and have it like just end up almost coming up in like a spontaneous way. But I guess the punchline is we're moving to Oceanside, which is near San Diego area. So not like a huge move. I still think at some point we could probably like a more drastic move is likely. But this just seems like to make so much sense for like the next like year or whatever. So Yeah, Oceanside. It's not LA, but it's still like close enough that we're not like completely upheaving everything, and just gonna be like more space and less crazy, and it's just yeah, I'm really excited.
Oh my god, I'm so excited for you. Dude,
Yeah,
it's huge. The space, the noise, like LA is so, it's like everybody, what's an example? Like, have you ever like shrink wrapped something and you see how the wrap, like the space inside slowly shrinks? It's like the walls just like are coming towards you. And that's the experience of LA. It's just there's people fucking everywhere. There's people everywhere, and there's tents, and there's smog, and there's potholes everywhere. And even when you're in a grocery store, there's so much more people and so much less space, and it's subconsciously affecting everyone. And Hermosa is a better part of LA, but even Hermosa is nothing like not LA.
I agree. And even though this is just like another beach town, like it's basically another Hermosa, like it's just different. And especially because of like kind of like where we're moving, like we're going from right on the beach to kind of like, 5 minutes in from the beach, like the end of the last house on a neighborhood, like on kind of a little bit of a hill. Like it's just going to be like chill with like outdoor space. And I mean here, obviously sometimes I feel crazy because I'm like, dude, Hermosa's like, people will be like, dude, Hermosa's like the chillest place on earth, but like it's still not. I mean, like right next door to our place, they're building a new house, so like that's just been constant noise. There's a truck that like screeches around the corner every day. Like, there's gonna be like people like meandering home drunk at 2 a.m. like right outside your window. Like it's still shit like that. Whereas like where we're gonna be at now, it's like, dude, it's just gonna be like, if there's a car outside, you're gonna be like, who the fuck is that? Like, there's not supposed to be a car outside.
Yeah, and the house next to you is not gonna be 7 feet away from your house. It's gonna be a lot far away.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be nice. I guess I'll mention like the one like really big change if people are going this far in the podcast. So we actually decided to move here with a friend. So I think it's gonna be awesome, and we're just getting like a sick ass house because of that. So it just makes it so much more doable to get like hella space, yard, outside. Like both of our like square footage per person is gonna go up by like a lot despite it being split. So, and it's like one of our best friends and like one of my business partner in RSNV also. So it's like, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and it just like the place is freaking like brand new, and it's just like you can't get that shit here. Like you can like, even if you were willing to spend millions of dollars in Hermosa, like you would never have like the yard space this place has. You would never have like the privateness this place has. You would never have like, this place is like air conditioning. It has like everything is like new and sick and crazy. I'm really pumped to just like have space and feel like things are actually put together well. These beach spots, especially in Hermosa, like, like, I mean, our place is great. Like probably people have like, seen me posting it for years and stuff. Like we love it, but like, it's not like, it's just, there's just something different. Like you almost can't feel it until you've like been into these like beach spots, but they're just like they're all a little iffy. You know what I'm getting at, right?
Dude, yeah.
Like even if they're nice,
yeah, there's just too many.
Yeah,
it's just a bunch of people that have crowded in, and it doesn't make sense anymore. So I think that you're gonna find so much peace in the new lifestyle, and we really absorb the surroundings into ourselves. Yeah. And I respect you and applaud you for taking the steps to actually do it, because I think that it'll be really good for you.
Yeah. No, I think it's gonna be great, and we'll see how long we're there, but it just feels like I feel like I wasn't about to just like pull the trigger on like a huge move, and this just feels like, let's just do this, and maybe we stay there for super long, but maybe we don't. But like, it's obviously obviously it's the move for now, and it probably should have been the move even like a year ago or something, but like it just makes so much sense. And
Love it.
it's going to be so much space. Like I have to literally like figure out what to do with space, which is a problem I've never had here. So like literally there's going to be like empty fucking areas and the yard, and like can actually like plant shit. Like it's just going to be so different. Yeah, I'm really excited. And also like I feel like this part, kind of like the whole quarantine pandemic thing, is definitely factoring in a way that maybe I shouldn't let it. But like the fact that I can't even go to the beach right now, and obviously I like, shit could open like tomorrow, and then this wouldn't be a factor. But like that is putting such a like damper on where I'm at. It's like, dude, I'm paying to be like 2 steps from the beach and I can't go. And it's just like, why am I here? Like I could be like anywhere, So rather like, let's say the shit actually does continue for a year, I would way rather be like stuck in this like sick like place with space than like stuck right by a beach you can't go to. So that's definitely factoring in.
100%, man. It'll be great. I'm so excited to hear your experience. And moving sucks, but you're gonna do it, and you'll get there. And you have a deadline, and the date will come, and you'll do it, and you'll end up there. And
the move itself is stressful, especially because like this time, like this was our first place that we like really kind of settled into. I feel like when we moved into this place, we just got like a U-Haul and did it ourselves. But like this time I'm like, nah, like we've just accumulated like more furniture worth keeping and like just shit. And then one thing that's weird is like so many things are closed. Like I have some like random shit that I would just want to get rid of, and it's like you can't even like donate shit right now because they're all closed. And it's just weird. Like I'm gonna be it's definitely making it like slightly complicated, but I also in a weird way feel like it's the perfect time to move, like when everything is like turned off. So I'm pumped, but yeah, I'll get through it. But
absolutely,
yeah, it's still a few weeks away, by the way. But we like tried to like push out the lease so that we could, whatever. But yeah, no, I'm so excited. Like I just want to get in there, honestly.
Yeah, weeks will fly by.
Yeah, and you know what? This just popped into my head, but it's actually reminding me of what you said when you were moving to Austin, was that like you couldn't really enjoy like your last like few weeks or whatever because you already like knew you were leaving. It's like you were already on the way out. Do you remember saying that?
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, because I think what you're saying was like, you're already like mentally in the other place. Like, you've already committed. You're already like getting established there. So it's kind of just like you're done, right?
Right.
In your current place. So that's how it feels.
Like once you decide to move, you should make it as soon as possible, the move date.
Yeah, probably. So right now this wait is just like a little bit of limbo, but otherwise it's like, paying overlap for hella. So
and I also had like 3 months, and I had this like relationship that I wasn't sure what was going on with, and like my Armand, good friend, was like also moving away, so there was a lot up in the air. I'll give it a few months, but yeah, I'm so happy that I did move, because I feel so much healthier mentally here than I did in LA.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I mean, I'm gonna miss it here, and I'm afraid of like what I'm giving up, but I just think it's the right trade-off. And as much as I think I'll never have certain things that I have here, I think that I don't think I'll like come back. I don't think I'll like miss it so much that I'll be like, no, like that was the right spot. I don't think that's it. I think if anything, like we'll just continue to go further and further, like the other direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe the next place will be like a farm outside of Austin. Pull a Ryan holiday.
Yeah, it's nice that you're doing what you're doing, because you'll be able to compare both experiences and understand what you want from a more three-dimensional perspective.
Yeah, it's the perfect test run. I'm super excited, and that area is just like amazing. It's really nice. Like, it's so much better than this area, dude. Like, just beaches are cleaner. You know, you don't have to look at any like oil tankers out there. Like everything, like you can drive, like literally, like, you know, we can drive to a place like 15 minutes away, and you're going like, you know, 12 miles or whatever. Whereas in LA, like, you know, it's like 45 minutes to go, probably like an hour. You never go 12 miles actually. Like you just don't go 12 miles. So yeah, I just feel like we'll be like freer to like explore places. Like even if we want to drive like 30 or 40 minutes to like go somewhere, it's like now we're dealing with this like huge potential like reach versus just like LA. Yeah, like it's like you can drive to like just everywhere. It's really cool, but I'm pumped. Like we love Encinitas, so I'm basically thinking of this as like the outskirts of Encinitas, which it is. But yeah, we can go there like so easily, and it's just like an awesome spot. So I can't wait. Yeah, you gotta definitely when society opens, you gotta come visit.
I'll be there.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think this is about a good point to probably wrap up.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So, what is there to say?
I don't know. I think we're good to wrap up.
Yeah, it's always fun, and anyone listening, hope you are staying safe and healthy, and thanks for listening. And we'll definitely do this again soon. It's always great.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Yeah, it's fun to do this kind of intermittently and update and share thoughts and stuff. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. See ya.
All right.